Hello, everybody. How are you doing today? My name is Tony Rosano, and this is another episode of the world famous, the University Love, the award winning, the best podcast in one, two, three galaxies. But, ladies and gentlemen, you and I, we just call this show Online Marketing Moves, and we are coming to you live today. Ladies and gentlemen, we are like the train that won't stop. Everybody, jump on board. Woo woo! Now, today, ladies and gentlemen, we have a very important show for you. But before we begin, I would just like to say a shout out to my wife. I was recording a few minutes ago. My wife sent me a video, distracted me. It's some kind of hack about having kids, traveling with kids. I don't know about you, but I see some of this stuff sometimes, and I'm always like, it looks like more effort to try to, you know, cut stuff and do all this and all that to your car than just be like, hey man, get in the car, let's go to your child. Because next week, I say all that to say next week, me and my daughter are gonna be headed up to the great state of Missouri to visit my parents and to be a part of the family reunion. So, you know, my wife, she's always concerned that my child, how's she gonna do in the car, blah blah blah. But I always tell my wife, we gonna be all right, okay? And I remember when I was a kid. I don't know about you, but I might be older than you, or I could be younger than you. But first off, me and my parents, we didn't go that many places. So um, plus I had a brother to entertain me and a brother to annoy me, and he would always try to sit. And our biggest thing in the car to entertain us, my brother would always try to keep his legs all stretched out so he could try to hog up the whole back seat, which is weird. But my brother, he's a weirdo. Sorry, mom, but he is a weirdo. But that's okay. I love him anyway. But today, ladies and gents, we're going to talk about ditching side chicks and and ramping up the side revenue. All right, and why are we bringing this up? Because the more you want to do, you want to do things. You want to create revenue. You don't want to create. Going to let's say you have a job, and then you want to get a part-time job. That's great and all, but it's not. You want to try to do something where every month, hey man, I can bring in, you know, $500, $1,000, you know, um, $20,000, $30,000. Well, if you're bringing in $30,000, you're not gonna be working on. You're not gonna be working a job, are you? But that's the whole point of this. You want to develop side revenue. So the things that you are doing in your life, if you're sitting around, um, watching meaningless basketball games all the time and all this and all that. I'm not yelling at you. I'm not telling you to stop, but you might want to get your priorities together. And you might want to learn. Hey, I need to start making some side revenue. Okay, side revenue is very important. Um, you don't know how much life is easier when you can start making an extra $500, $1,000, just like that. Then once you start making $1,000, you're like, all right, well, I'm making an extra $1,000. Let me go to making $2,500. Let me go to making $5,000 a month. Let me go because when I was telling my wife this the other day, I heard this guy, he was talking, and he said, they was giving him an extra $20 at work or whatever, and I thought, you know, that's cool. But I also thought to myself, man, I'd have been jumping for joy a long time ago about them $20. My wife said, I know. And I said, now, no. I'm at the point in my life, and I told you before, the older you get, the more you want to be, the more you want to be comfortable. Comfortability costs. So, you know, um, I need pool money. We have a pool, and we want to get all this stuff for the pool. You know, you need to get it. You got to get a heater. You want to convert it to salt water. So so revenue is where we're at. Revenue is where I want you to be at, and I'm telling you this because I remember when I was 20, when I was your age, when I was 23, 22, 23. I remember I my mom had this girl I went to school with. She worked with my mom, and one day I was at the hospital, and my mom was like, "Hey, she's having a meeting at her house tonight." And if you're from back in them days, you know what that meant. If anybody said, "Hey, man, we're gonna have a meeting at a hotel," at a hotel, it wasn't for a rendezvous. It was for some. Hey, let's get you into this program and let's sign you up. But anyway, I went there and I remember the guy he was talking and he was talking about making, he said he was making like $2,500 a month, extra a month, and I think he sold insurance, but in his part time, he was he was doing selling lotion and potions and pills and all this, but he was bringing in an extra $2,500, and I thought, man, I could extra $2,400. If I was making that, I'd be rich. Because back then, before Bidenomics. Nah, I'm just kidding. Inflation is just going. Inflation is just out here. I don't think it really matters who the president is. But I heard the term Bidenomics. I had to go with that. And but I say all that to say, the guy was making extra $2,500 a month, and I thought, man, extra $2,500 a month. And now, the more you think about it, and the more that when you figure out life, when you figure out things, and life is always going to be a mystery, but you figure some things out and you learn. A paycheck is great. An income is a revenue stream is a lot better. And you want to get to that point. And I'm telling you, the more if you can get $100, $500, 1,000, and then you could take that money and you can invest, or you can put it back, or you can save it for your kids. The better off life will be. The easier it will be, the less stress you will have. Um, you know, people will tell you all the time, "Oh man, money." Hey man, money is important. But the ability to learn how to create money for yourself, create your own revenue is greatly important, because if you can do that, if you can get to that point in life, then hey, you are making it. Because it's gonna come, it's gonna go. You're gonna have car. Because now, and I'll tell you, any repair that I have in my house, for the any repair, it seems like it's 250 plus, $250, and it's like, whoa. And I'm always like, damn, that much? And they're like, yeah, parts, labor, and it's always like $500. For me, it's always like $500, but it seems like now it's just like automatic 250. I remember I bought a battery. My wife, we had this van for my mother-in-law. The car battery for the van was $239, and it came out to be like 270. And I was like, for a battery now? And they were like, yeah, batteries, man. And I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. But I know every month there's money coming in. Not from not from the driving, you know, but from the podcasting and the writing and all that. There's money. There's always gonna be money coming in, and I also um will tell you the thing about creating, like, writing. I write a lot. We do a lot of podcasts, and the best thing about this stuff is, like, if you work somewhere and then you say, all right, I'm done with that job. Let me go to my part-time job. Let's say you drive Lyft, or you work at FedEx, or you work at a gas station, anything like that. That's great and all. You're making extra income, but you still trading in time. Now with the podcast, I create the podcast, I upload it, and there's gonna be somebody that's gonna come. And there are people that are still downloading episodes from 2 years ago, 3 years ago. That's the best thing about creating your own, you know, revenue, creating your own streams of income. Because I can't go to the Quick Trip. I can't go to FedEx and say, "Hey, I worked for y'all 3 hours 3 years ago. Give me $50 right now." But let's say you have a website and you have products you selling. You could be sleep, and you could be bringing in the money. And so you want to create the streams of revenue, not because, hey man, I'm trying to, I want to be a billionaire. No, you want to create the streams of revenue because it'll be there on a consistent basis. And sometimes, you know, it's like one month. I remember I went after I had recorded for like a year. I recorded like twice, two podcasts a week for like 4 weeks, but there were still episodes being downloaded from yesteryear. That's always that's the beautiful thing, because I own that. you know it benefits me. And so that's why, whether it be websites, whether it be podcasts, whether it be YouTube channels, you want to create things for you. You want to create things that are going to make you money, outside of you having to look at it, stare at it, or be a part of it. So investing, plus also you start making streams of revenue. You can do things like invest. Um, there's people always, passive income, passive income, passive income. But you wanna you wanna dig out your very own lake. That I remember it, there was always people online, and they would talk about affiliate marketing when I first got online and trying to figure this whole thing out. And I always thought, they like, oh, you can make it easier, blah 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 blah. And I thought, now how are they doing? But the the trick was, I mean, you gotta build out an audience. Without an audience, without an email list, it's kaput. And so the people, they never say, "Oh, well, I'm making this money because I have this big old email list." They never quite they never quite came out and said that. You have to watch these people, but they wanted you to be a part of their audience, but they wouldn't let you know what was going on. Which was annoying. But you want to get to the point where you are building out your very own income, because at the end of the day, there are going to be some days when you wake up and you're going to be like, I don't I don't want to do anything today. I just want to lay in bed. I want to watch TV. I want to watch the Three Stooges. I want to watch Andy Griffith. I'm rattling off all the shows that I enjoy. There are gonna be days where you're like, you know what? I wanna stay home. It's raining. I don't want to do anything. I don't want to go anywhere. I got everything done. I just want to watch TV, or I just want to read a book. I just want to do XYZ. It's a sunny day. I want to go down. I want to go to the park. I want to walk around. I want to go to the movies. I want to do anything but work, or have to deal with people. You want to get to that point. And so that's why we are talking building out a side revenue, side income, you know. So that way, when those days hit, or if your child gets sick, or you want to go on vacation or anything like that, you want the vacation. You don't want to have to dig into your pocket. or I gotta work overtime, or I gotta work triple time, quadruple time, And then by the time you get to the vacation, you're so tired, you're like, I need a vacation from the vacation. And that happens. And so the more you think, the more you focus on building out the side revenue, the more you focus on building out that, and the less you focus on the Knicks going to the Eastern Conference Finals, the better off you will be. I had to bring up the Knicks because my mother-in-law, God rest her soul, she loved the Knicks, and she passed away. She passed away about 3 weeks ago, and she would be very excited right now because the Knicks look like they might go to the Eastern Conference Finals. But that's neither here nor there. But what I'm telling you, for the benefit of you, build out the side revenue. As you all know, one thing that I have done in the last couple weeks is I started a LinkedIn account. As I told you, we're gonna ramp up the copywriting. We're gonna ramp up the copywriting. We're gonna get the copywriting business off the ground and you know take it to a whole nother level. But you know that's not gonna be that's gonna be full-time revenue. But we're gonna start off side revenue. And one thing I was reading about was getting residual money from stuff that you wrote. And I thought, all right, that'd be great if I could get, if you could. I give you an example. When I was one time I was recording, and I remember I made this was early on. I made like $200 one month from doing the podcast, and they sent me a check from the little ad I was doing, and it was like $200, and I thought, and I got excited, and I was like, okay, this works, and it was from all the past episodes I recorded, and I thought to myself, all right, eureka, you know what I'm saying? Like it got me excited, and I was very happy, and that's what you want. That's what you're looking for because, man, the t- time as my birthday is in 2 days. I'll be 45 years old, and when you start to get older, you not that, I plan on, you're still gonna live life, but that eventually time is gonna run out, you know and you realize, once you start to realize time is valuable, time is precious, time is money, and you don't want to, especially me, somebody who's worked, the manual labor hustle, my most of my life. And once you figure out, it's an end game to that manual labor, you know what I mean? And I don't plan on going to college, so you know this is it for me. This online, this working online, recording podcasts and writing, and I love doing it. I enjoy it a lot, and I enjoy it a lot better than driving the truck, and it also it also it also I also know that I would be able to do more, to spend more time with my wife, with my daughter, by doing the online stuff. The trucking stuff is, you know, it's a lot of muckety muck. It's a lot of time. It's a lot of time. It's a lot of time invested for, if you think about it, for a little bit of pay. You know what I mean? Like it's not worth the time that you're gone away is not worth the money that you're gonna get. And it's not a bad it's how can I say this? It's it's whatever. You know what I mean? It's cool. It was cool while it lasted, but I'm like, all right, let's end that and let's build out the revenue, because at the end of the day, nobody's gonna pay you what you're worth. And I know we talked about this before, but it's just the way it is. Especially if you're like me and you didn't graduate college, and once you get into the in the world of trucking, they try to put you in a box, and nobody can put you in a box if you let them. You know what I mean? And so to get out of the box, you want to build out your own. You want to build out your own streams of revenue. You want to build out the side revenue. I'm telling you, the $500 a month, $1,000 a month, $2,500 a month, 5,000, 20,000, 30,000, 60,000, how much you can start generate it, and you will see that there will be a when your money problems stop, and we talked about it yesterday. When you stop surviving and you start thriving, you will see your vision will get clearer, your intent will become better, your focus will get more lasered in because you're like, all right, I know what to do. I know what I'm doing. It's like when I do this podcast now, I know there's before it was like when I first started, and I wrote about this yesterday in Medium. So if you want to go to Medium, I wrote this article about starting the podcast and how I started out. There was no plan. The plan was just to record, and I didn't want to put a whole lot of thought into it because sometimes I used to overthink, and I knew, hey man, if I start overthinking and I'm gonna be like, who want to listen to me? Who want to hear from me? And so I just started. I just started recording, and I said, we'll figure all the rest of it out later. Plan later, action first. And so I'm telling you that you want to, if you want to um, start building out revenue, write down, why, write down, you know, what can you do? What would you like to do? What is something you always wanted to do? I've always wanted to write. I remember uh, I thought about it when I was younger. You know, and it's just like, all right, I put it on the shelf to work, and you start working and you get caught up in that, and you get caught up in doing like watching. Oh man, who watching meaningless games, not no, for me they're meaningless. But, you get caught up in that, you get caught up in life, you get caught up in the world. But the world the world the world is not going to take care of you and your family. You are going to take care of you and your family. So, I'm telling you this not as a, I'm talking down to you, I'm preaching to you. Listen, I know this from firsthand experience, first world experience. There comes a point in time in life where you're just gonna be like, I don't want to go to work today, and it's gonna come a point you don't want to be the person who's like, yeah, but I gotta go to work. I can't miss because if I miss, the light's gonna get cut off and all this and all that. No, you want to get to the point where you're like, man, I'm making $1,500, $2,500, $5,000 a month, $10,000 a month. I can go to work if I want to. I don't gotta go. Or you get to the point you're just like, all right, you're making $10,000, $15,000, you know, from the things you are doing on your own. And you're like, all right, boom, I don't need that job. I'm done. I'm gone. Okay. You want to get to those points. You want to get to the points where you have options. That's why you build out revenue streams, because you want options. What's better than being, what's better than having to do something, choosing to do something? That's the best thing. Options. And so, ladies and gentlemen, that is it. We'll be back tomorrow with all new episode of Online Marketing Moves. And I'm telling you right now, there's be a Saturday episode will be there. Sunday's my birthday, no episode. All right. So with that being said, ladies and gents, go out, leave the side chicks, leave the side watching sports, all of that jazz. Get to building out the revenue streams. All right. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, that is it. We will be back tomorrow with the all new episode of Online Marketing Moves. But until then, my name is Tony Rizzano. God bless. And as always, everybody, peace.